Who's good, Potato? Spindly here. I'm trying to get in a charismatic mood because I'm going to try to record a little bit of some Borderlands footage here in a second, working on Let's Play and all that. And I decided to do another kind of bulk review of the Final Destination franchise. Now, all two of you that watch these, Winston, get away from my coffee, are probably wondering why I've been doing so many bulk reviews on franchises. Well, standalone films haven't been doing it for me recently. I like sitting down and watching things in a series, just to kind of unwind. Like I said, things have been stressful. You know, I've been wanting to sit back and relax. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing a jacket when this place is typically hot, you haven't been following me on Facebook. Anyway, Final Destination. I would argue this is probably one of the most creative, gory supernatural thrillers out there. The basic concept for the entire franchise is very simple. Death is an inevitable and powerful force that will find you no matter what. If you escape an event in which you are destined to die in, death will hunt you down. It'll find a way to go ahead and knock you out. It'll go in a certain order to try to keep to its certain plan, but there are signs that can help you avoid this. Now, in the first one, kind of the reveal was the plane crash of Flight 180. Now, Flight 180, a group of students were going to Paris. A few of them got off because one child had a premonition. And thereafter, the survivors started to die off. This was in the 2000s. This was actually in the year 2000. 1 year later, 2001, there was a massive pileup. I think it was the anniversary of the Flight 180 tragedy, and it was on Route 180. Basically, massive pileup. Afterwards, the survivors that escaped because some chick had a vision and blocked the on-ramp all started dying one by one in freak accidents. From there on, the third film, there was a roller coaster accident. Same deal. That led to, later on, there was a massive crash at a racing event. And half the stadium ended up collapsing. Again, vision, survivors. You can see where this is going. In the fifth one, there is a company outing, kind of a team building exercise going on. They're driving across a bridge in a bus. One guy has a vision that the bridge crumbles, sees the order in which everyone dies, freaks out, gets most of them off the bridge, and you get the picture. Tragedy, blah, blah, blah. Now, in order to actually go in depth and fairly rate these, I'm going to have to review pretty much everything I just said. Now, in the first Final Destination, no one really saw this coming. They were expecting some sort of supernatural ghost or some shit. They didn't realize that death itself was just coming. Viewers were probably shocked whenever they saw just everyone die, and then everyone's back to normal. And then seeing how people die in rapid succession in very odd and unbecoming ways. From being hung in the bathtub, knives falling off the counters, stupid shit like that. It was fun. It was attention grabbing. And seeing how the formula initially started off, people thought that there was probably inevitably some way to escape it, which there never was. Death will always find you. That is kind of the main theme. Every time you start a Final Destination movie, you know that by the end of the film or after the film, everyone is going to be dead. I'm going to pause to sip my coffee. Now, for creativity, and since it was in 2000 and didn't use all that much CG, it did use a fair bit, but for the most part, not really. I'm going to go ahead and give the first one 3 potatoes, just off the basis of creativity and their methods of executing what they believe to be what was necessary to make this film as shocking as possible. That may not have been, the smartest way to go about it, but hey, you got the film out there. The second is one of my personal favorites. It was my introduction to the franchise, so this one's obviously going to have a little bit of a higher rating because I'm slightly biased to it. But this one had a more intricate or intimate connection to the first one, as opposed to all the other films. Almost every survivor of the massive pileup was connected to someone from Flight 180. Typically, their lives were saved because of the death of one of the characters in the first movie. The signs are pretty much the same. The only difference is the order in which people died. In the initial Final Destination film, it would be first death to last. This one, it was last to first. What the fuck you doing? You are just all over the place today. But yeah, this one is going to get 4 potatoes from me. It actually went above and beyond to being explosive and entertaining. Now, the other ones, they were heavily CG'd. They were really fun, and seeing how people died was amazing, but this one still had that shock factor, as opposed to you know what you're getting into. So yeah, first film is going to get 3, second is going to get 4. Now, the third film, you pretty much know what you're in for. Not only that, but it was mostly high school kids. It was a lot of whining, a lot of bitching. Not too much happened. You saw a fair amount of the deaths coming. You knew what you were in for. You knew what you were getting into. No one really had a connection to anyone from Flight 180. And while they did reference it, most of the signs as opposed to being shadows on the ground or, just small warning signs, like small things out of nowhere, the signs were in photographs. You had to look at a photograph in order to tell the sign. So that, the existence of the third film in the franchise really doesn't matter. It's never referenced in the other movies. It's pretty much just a placeholder. So that one's going to get 2 potatoes from me. While it was fun and entertaining, it still didn't hold up franchise-wise. It was one of the more disappointing films. Now, the fourth one, which is actually called The Final Destination, saved it. While the body count was really small, they were really flashy. They executed everything in amazingly brilliant ways. The only thing I had an issue with were the visions, because they were literally back-to-back visions. It'd be the sort of thing where one moment this guy pictures like a rock flying through the air and a lawnmower, some guy smoking a cigarette, music, a sound, children laughing, and he would have to guess who was going to die, where, and how based off of that. And these visions were back-to-back. The deaths in this were awesome, and I loved a lot of the characters, but it was underwhelming. It was set up to be something awesome, but it was very, very underwhelming. So this one's just going to get 3 potatoes. It's online with the first one, but the first one had less to work with. Now, the fifth one, and I really like this one. I'm going to set this down because my arms are getting tired. But yeah, the fifth one had a lot to work with. And, this is going to be like a small little spoiler section. But the fifth one not only had excellent kills, it had an amazing twist. It took you all the way back to the beginning. The entire time you're watching this, you get the feeling that you're in the modern world, and they have limited a lot of the products used. Winston's begging for attention. They have actually limited a lot of the products used. They didn't have smartphones or iPhones or anything like that. They didn't have laptops or the fucking slim-ass iPods from nowadays. They only really showed flip phones and company computers. As far as the cars, they didn't show any very new models. It was things that you wouldn't look twice at, so you didn't realize the movie actually took place before the first film. The last film is the setup for the first. And if you take a look at the final film, you'll see that everybody is connected to someone in another film except for the third. A timber company started the massive pileup. A timber company started the massive pileup. That same timber trunk was involved in the bridge collapse. They were passing them on the bridge. There was a side character that died who was a race car driver. He was actually part of the racing team and appeared in the fourth one on one of the kind of long-standing memorials. His death is probably one of the reasons why death created tragedy on the track, why death involved that timber company. The trip or the bus number was 180. The surviving 2 characters died on Flight 180. I'm trying to think. There was one more thing that I want to point out. There was something referencing the... But yeah, no, it references every film except for the third. The third is all localized activities. But the rest is kind of more on a national scale. So by watching the fifth film, you can see how everything connects to the initial issue. And one thing that I feel like they really should have touched on more is the Undertaker. His involvement and how he's always dropping hints and how he always gives different cryptic messages to every group of survivors, that's probably a movie in and of itself that I would like to see in the future. So the first one got 3 potatoes. Second got 4. Third one got 2, I think. Did I give him 2? I think the fourth one got 3. No, the third one got 3. I'm going to go ahead and give the fourth one 3.5. And I'm going to give the fifth one a good 4 potatoes. Overall, franchise-wise, there's not really much inconsistency. They keep a very strict time frame. They keep a lot of the things the same, but they have to change it out to keep the movies interesting, because each movie is pretty much the same exact fucking thing. They play around with it a lot and create a very interesting, very depressing fucking world. Overall, the franchise, I'm going to give it... Fuck it, I'm just going to give it 4 potatoes. I don't feel like thinking too much. I'm going to be sitting there talking for the next couple of hours while playing Borderlands 2. So I'm not trying to use too much of my energy right now. This is just something simple to warm me up, get me used to talking. Because I'm trying to settle back into doing Let's Plays when I've been doing nothing but movie reviews and streams for a while. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Have you seen these films? What are your thoughts on them? Are you planning on watching any of them? Leave all that in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Keep on keeping on. I will see you in another video.